We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM KKJZ HD3 Long Beach, Los Angeles.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and now our World Broadcasting Tag Team Champions of the World and our Cruiserweight Champion.
I'm Ethan.
I'm James.
I'm Rob.
And this is Season 7 and Episode 117 of Beyond the Ropes. We are BTR, Pro Wrestling Talk. Once again, I am Ethan Ortiz, joined alongside the analyst James Williams, and of course our producer Rob Flores. We have been on hiatus for the last 5 months due to an injury. Rob's been on the injury report list here.
He's been on IR, but he has been cleared. It was not COVID related, thankfully. We've all been pretty healthy so far, so glad we're all on the other end of that. Obviously still quarantined and locked down, I guess, more or less.
Yes, so we are safe, we're good. We've missed out on a lot of stuff, but once again, to kind of discuss what our show is about. It's about pro wrestling, of course. We're talking all things pro wrestling. We're talking matches, moments. We're talking shows, everything and every subject we could think of to do with the topic of pro wrestling. Since we've missed about 5 months of content, we're going to jump right in. I have some lists of items here that we can discuss here. So during, obviously, this pandemic, the WWE had to go through a number of venue changes to kind of get to where they are today. Of course, for the last couple of months, they have been at the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida, a.k.a. the Thunderdome. That's right. So it's basically a bunch of video screens with a bunch of lasers, and I know there's like a drone that they have in the arena, and then a huge display of pyrotechnics and so on. I was fortunate enough to be a part of the Thunderdome in its first week for like a good minute, and then they kicked me out. I don't know.
Wait. Why did they kick you out? What did you do?
So when you sign up, they basically just say we have the right to just switch people out and in and out. So
right.
I just happened to be there, and I don't know, my internet connection, I know I was struggling with that a little bit, so I could have been there too. So.
And I think that it makes sense too, because, and I've never really noticed this before, but I saw them do it right before the Raw main event that we'll be talking about here in a little bit. But they had Mark Henry on there, and they put him front and center on the camera where you can see him. They circled him like he was a bit like the football, like they do in football and everything. I've never seen them do that before. But yeah, I mean, again, I'm always curious how they go about doing that, if they know they're going to be on or what. But obviously they had him front and center, and they're going to switch him in and out. But I would totally understand why they would switch someone like you out for Mark Henry.
Yeah, without a doubt. Although I think I could give a little more insight in the Thunderdome, but that's fine. If they wanted to have a Hall of Famer in there, that's fine, I guess.
Yes, if they have to settle, right?
Right. I think Jeff Jarrett was also there 1 week, and then Matthew McConaughey was actually there for a bit, actually, the actor Matthew McConaughey. So, yeah, Thunderdome's been really cool. Go ahead, James.
So just going back to, Jeff Jarrett, wasn't he one of the guys who was laid off or furloughed or something? Where are we at with all those guys?
That's right. So I think right before we went off, there was a bunch of releases, and actually we'll talk about a few. You just reminded me of someone that just got released last week, which we'll discuss. But Jeff Jarrett, I don't know. I think so. He was in the pre-show for Hell in a Cell, I believe. So I don't think he's been furloughed or released completely. Right. At least not. He's still there, at least part time. So I'm not really sure how that situation is being handled right now. Of course, there were a number of releases we've talked about already. I don't remember. I believe the Authors of Pain have been released since the last time we talked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that definitely happened. We never got a full understanding of. I mean, they never got going, really.
They got injured, both of them.
One of them injured with Seth, but they were with Seth, right?
They were with Seth at the time, and I think the previous I think maybe it was the other one that got injured previously and was out for a few months too. So they just never really got anywhere, unfortunately, in the main roster, and ultimately got released. So yeah, they were added to that list. Yeah, I guess we'll just get into it. WWE has been, I guess specifically Vince McMahon has been a little picky about what he wants his superstars doing on their free time.
He's being a little twitchy.
He's being a little twitchy, to say the least. Of course, we're talking about Twitch, Cameo, and basically any third-party platform.
I guess you might fall under that.
Over the last couple of months, it has been revealed that Vince basically wanted everyone off those sites, those third-party platforms, Twitch, Cameo. I guess OnlyFans does count as one. Trying to think of another one. But those are kind of like the main ones that came up. And he basically only wanted them involved on Twitch if they signed a new contract stating that they would basically get, WWE would be basically taking money from them and just kind of basically just giving them scraps. I mean, from what I heard, it was not much. They wouldn't be making much. We did hear, I know Paige is making like, I heard around $100,000, like on Twitch. And if she agreed to the terms with WWE, she'd be making none of that, pretty much, on Twitch.
I'm sure she would make some, but again, so it's just the whole thing is, it's a little confusing just because we don't know. I mean, WWE's not really speaking out on it that much, so we don't really, I personally don't think Vince McMahon knows what Twitch is. I don't think he,
I'm sure they told him what it is.
I'm sure they've told him.
Yeah.
But I don't think he, even if they explained it to him and said, oh yeah, they're just playing video games, interacting with fans, or the WWE universe, as you want to call it. Or, I mean, I guess you can say they're not because they may be using their real names or out of character, yada, yada. I mean, again, this isn't the 90s or the 80s. I just don't know. I just feel like there's more. I don't want to say more to it. I guess Vince has the final say, but I just don't think it's not like he was on his own Twitter account, noticed Paige was tweeting about Twitch, or go over to Twitch and he saw it that way. You know what I mean? So someone's in his ear about it, obviously.
Someone told him these wrestlers are basically, it's a third-party platform. A lot of them are on Twitch. AJ Styles was, Mia Yim, Zelina Vega, who we'll talk about right now, and a bunch of the NXT wrestlers. I believe NXT wrestlers are allowed on Twitch.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, but the main roster ones are not.
So I heard that the NXT guys are, which is for people who said Adam Cole is the.
Adam Cole, Dakota Kai.
Dakota Kai is still on there, yeah. And then, what is her name?
The big one. Completely.
Ronda's homie.
Jessamine Duke.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say Jessica. So those are the three. So they're still on theirs. Part of it too is because of the amount of money they're being paid. Obviously, when you're in NXT and whatnot. So it makes sense why it would. I guess, but see, I guess that's part of their contract already. I mean, it's not like the contract says they can go and be an independent on the weekends or something, but. I don't know. I don't know why that language is there or not there, other than it having to be about the amount of money they made. If there's another way that, they can still kind of groom them and train them to be what the WWE wants them to be, but at the same time, they can still they don't have to pay them as much maybe, and they can find other ways to bring revenue in, then I guess so be it. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think it should be okay as long as it's not, they missed a booking or a taping because of it, which I don't think is the case. Let me know if I'm getting too far ahead, but when you look at someone like Paige, who, has had a lot going on, obviously, with Alberto Del Rio and different things, and there's the video and everything else. So it seems like she's been, pretty level-headed, or not, not level-headed, but everything is working out for her right now. she had a pretty good spot recently being on the Fox show.
Before that,
That was her most prominent role as of late. So obviously that's kind of slowed down. Just I think that the show was more or less canceled, but they brought something else back. But she's been good. Everything's been good. I think she's even mentioned that. And I think she was in tears, kind of explaining that situation. Like, Twitch has been something that's positive for her, and she's found something that's working for her. And WWE obviously wants her to be well. But at the same time, they're going to take it away from her. So I can understand why she's completely frustrated with the whole situation. Her more so than some of the others. But yeah, it's kind of tough to see.
Yeah, so we'll talk about some of the others. I believe it was as late as last week, a number of the wrestlers who have been on third-party platforms had a meeting, apparently, with Vince that I guess didn't go well because obviously there's still restrictions. One of those wrestlers, I believe, was Zelina Vega, and I believe she even started an OnlyFans account, which is primarily adult content, but I believe she was selling photos of her cosplay. Stuff. She likes to dress up as, different characters and stuff. And apparently that seemed to be kind of the one that kind of drew the line because she was still obviously making content and stuff. So they seemingly made an example out of her and released her last Friday. She shortly tweeted after saying that she supported unionizing.
And some people were kind of reading into the tweet, and then minutes later she was let go. She knew. I mean,
she knew. It was. They posted
things don't happen that fast, and especially considering how fast that how many people would have to go through, and then for it to go through to WWE social media team to even tweet it out.
No, she
knew.
She got the call. She tweeted it out. They made the announcement, surprisingly or ironically, 10 minutes later. But yeah, she, I believe, went on Twitch later that night during SmackDown. I didn't see the stream, so I don't know what she said. I know she was very thankful to the WWE Universe and all the fans. Obviously, she's going to do well wherever she is because she's very talented. And I know she got a lot of support from several individuals, including SAG-AFTRA, which is the union for actors, the Screen Actors Guild, which is interesting. I know Andrew Yang, former, I guess, presidential nominee or candidate, who has been on Vince's back the last several months. He's going to make some changes, or kind of force Vince to make some changes, has supported her, so that's interesting.
Because I've seen I forgot who tweeted him in that or something, but I'd seen his name kind of popping up. So I haven't seen directly how he was involved, but you just kind of said it there. So that is kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know, not to get too far into politics here, but I'd be curious to know where his stance on if the stance is based off of something bigger than just WWE, and this is just a perfect example of whatever he's kind of fighting for, or if it's specific to this. Yeah, I haven't followed it that close. Obviously, we had an election. I guess we should just get this out of the way. Hall of Famer Donald Trump takes an L, and we'll leave that there.
He takes an L.
Just figured we'd update you on the Hall of Famer.
So. Take an L there. If you're watching on YouTube, I got the from. So we'll leave it at that.
All right. Yeah, so just going back, I mean, the Twitch thing, it's a mess. Whether or not they just are making an example out of Zelina Vega, what happens to Aleister Black? But their push, Aleister Black's push, to me seems like it's kind of tanked a little bit. Doesn't mean he's not going to be used again in the future. I mean, everyone has their ups and downs. But does he want to be there with Zelina gone?
So apparently he recently asked to move back to NXT, and it was declined. So he's stuck on main roster where Vince is pulling the strings there, and Aleister has not been on TV in about a month. So it could just be a matter of time before we see him future endeavored, which would be a shame because he's extremely talented. How much time do we have? Just 3 minutes? Okay,
just to wrap it up, I just think, yeah, I mean, again, I can't see them letting him go, but I mean,
He might just wait out his contract.
I'd be curious to know what the contract is. But yeah, so just having him gone, I mean, I'm surprised someone like Paige wasn't the first one to go, considering everything. Will we see Vega on AEW? Will she just continue to do her own thing? I think she was pretty popular. I think Alistair was on the Twitch channel with her sometimes. They were pretty popular. I don't think they were, they had maybe 2,000 or 3,000. Paige, I think, was a couple, doing a couple thousand more than that. But, you know, I'm sure she could still make a living off of that and do well.
We're doing YouTube as well. So
but that whole stable, man, just talking about the stable that she had real quick, looked really strong a few months ago. And for it to really kind of go downhill fast, I mean, what was it, Austin Theory, and then just from there, I mean, to think that you had the two guys going for the longest button heads and neither one of them really ended it, right? It was Vega, I guess, however that worked on the storyline.
So basically, Austin 3 went down to NXT, went back down to NXT. Angel and Andrade were basically going back and forth. Finally, teamed up. Angel got injured. He was out for like 2 weeks.
Okay,
and then they kind of left her in the dust. And then their team lasted about another week. And now Andrade is nowhere to be found on TV. He wasn't even drafted. So,
oh, really?
Things aren't looking good for Andrade. Garza has the last 2 or 3 weeks has been getting like a 30-second promo backstage.
Yeah, I've seen some of those. Yeah.
That's about it. So it's gone really down hill for
I think Andrade is not going anywhere. Obviously, if he's with Charlotte, they got to keep Charlotte happy. I think if anything, maybe it's a little bit more of a vacation time to kind of have them, you know, him being with Charlotte. You know, but he did come off a suspension, not many more, only a few months back, I guess, before this big stable push happened. So they kept the belt on during that time. I think they still like him, but we'll see.
All right, Rob, how much time? 1 minute. One whole minute to discuss. So I guess we'll just leave it off in a preview because we got. All right.
We have a pay-per-view coming up, don't we?
Yeah. Well, this is gonna air after the pay-per-view, so we can't really.
Well, if we don't say the name of the pay-per-view,
well,
then it remains a solid tease.
NXT just announced. We got a little breaking news. This is gonna air Monday, but War Games December 6th is happening. I'm excited.
With who?
It's going to be Undisputed Era, of course. My boys versus Pat McAfee's team. That's right. You know Pat McAfee. You're a football guy. You know Pat McAfee.
We'll talk a little bit about that when we come back because I'm curious how that kind of played out. Because one of you guys got played for a fool, and I don't understand why.
All right. And we'll be right back on Beyond the Ropes. We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM, KKJZ HD3, Long Beach, Los Angeles. Welcome back to episode 117 of Beyond the Ropes. We are BTR Pro Wrestling Talk. This is, of course, the second half of Season 7 since we were rudely interrupted thanks to an injury. But it happens. It happens. Anything can happen here on BTR. Of course, I am your host, Ethan, joined alongside the analyst, James Williams, and, of course, our producer, Rob Flores. So before the break, we were talking about the Undisputed Era, NXT, Pat McAfee. What do you want to talk about, James? 'Cause you brought it up.
Okay, so I didn't watch this. So explain to me why was it Bobby Fish?
Bobby Fish, who?
Kyle O'Reilly, I think is who it was. Well, one of them standing in the ring.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. All right.
Yeah. What? And then why is Pete Dunne involved? Like what?
Okay, so.
Okay, wait. First, explain to me. Yeah, explain to me why the Undisputed wasn't air. The Undisputed Era was not there, and Pete Dunne was supposed to be there.
I'll explain the whole story here. So Mr. NXT is here. Don't worry. Even though I'm missing right now and then last week, but that's all right. I'm catching up. So NXT TakeOver 30, we saw Adam Cole take on Pat McAfee. I believe you and I discussed it. I think
Mhm.
on a stream of some sort. I think it was
I think we did, yeah.
on Twitter. So we
Mhm.
discussed it. Obviously, of course, the greatest wrestler alive today, Adam Cole, won. Surprise, surprise. He's right here for me. Um, so then a couple months go by. Cool Kyle, as we like to call him, the Cool Kyle O'Reilly. Well, everyone, the social media calls him that.
I don't.
He kind of goes for a singles path. He came back kind of full time because he was, sporadically on and off. He's back full time. Gets a number one contenders opportunity for Finn Balor's NXT champion. By the way, new champion Finn Balor. Congratulations. Stellar match. They had a stellar match at 31. And so he unfortunately lost. After the match, we see Ridge Holland, NXT UK superstar who recently made an NXT debut, carry out Adam Cole. He obviously assaulted him, laid him out, and kind of cliffhanger. So we move forward. So Adam Cole's kind of been out since then, basically for the last month and a half or so. And so a couple weeks ago, we was supposed to be an NXT tag team title match. Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish, who earned an opportunity at the tag titles. So leading up to the main event, both Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong were attacked at separate occasions. And so we got replacements, which happened to be Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. They faced Breezango, who, by the way, only got like a month title reign, which is a shame because they're amazing. It was revealed there was a mystery man that actually helped Oni and Danny win those tag titles, and it happened to be James's favorite person, Pat McAfee. I'm just assuming. I don't know if you actually.
Yeah, sure. Why not? If he's against Undisputed Era, why not?
Oh God! All right. And so he kind of the following week he made his clear plan here. Ridge Holland got injured actually a couple weeks prior to this tag title match, so he scouted Oni and Danny Burch, and he explained, Adam Cole didn't congratulate him on his match or give him props, the respect he felt he deserved, so that's why he went after him, and he kind of thought of this plan of taking out every member of the Undisputed Era. So then we see Kyle O'Reilly, who was the only one who wasn't attacked, come out. He came out, and then he was going to face all three of them in the ring by himself. Here comes Pete Dunne for the first time since March for NXT. He's been kind of appearing in NXT UK, but he's back in the States now.
Okay, so stop. So when you see everyone from Undisputed Era is out, you see Pete Dunne coming down. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking
what's gonna happen?
I think for a second that yes, he's gonna side with Kyle because he does give him a chair. He hands Kyle a chair. He has a chair. And the moment I saw Kyle put the chair down, I knew it was bad news. They enter the ring. Kyle kind of eventually puts the chair down, steps a bit forward, and of course Pete Dunne hits him in the back, and they lay Kyle out. So basically, the reasoning for Pete Dunne joining this stable is when Roderick Strong actually joined the Undisputed Era, it was at Pete Dunne's expense because they were actually a tag team against the Undisputed Era. He turned on him. Undisputed Era retained the tag titles. So it was long-term storytelling there. And now we got this new stable, the Kings of NXT, as they're calling themselves, which is Pat McAfee, the tag team champions of Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan, and of course Pete Dunne. So
there you go. A little long-term storytelling there. Always does good for WWE when done right. So that's good. Because I had heard originally that it was kind of like, oh, Pete Dunne was coming back. They just kind of threw him in there. Some were saying he kind of didn't go. I mean, there's some other UK guys in there, so I guess that kind of works. But some people were just kind of iffy on the whole thing. But when you kind of explain it that way, I think that makes some sense.
The backstory there, he's had some history with the Undisputed Era, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
There in that point. All right, so we got so much to discuss. Roman Reigns. He came back Survivor Series. He left before WrestleMania, obviously with everything going on. He put his family and his health first. Came back when the Thunderdome was arrived. Won the Universal Championship. And all I've got to say is, Roman Reigns is my tribal chief.
So you're off the Seth Rollins bandwagon, and you're hopping on Roman. Is that what?
I didn't say that. We'll talk about Seth in a bit.
Okay.
I'm just saying Roman Reigns is my tribal chief. He can sit at the head of my table. That's fine. Thanksgiving dinner, he's invited, and he can sit. I'm gonna save him a seat over here.
No kids table for Roman Reigns.
I'm not gonna tell him he's not the tribal chief. Have you seen him? Have you seen? He's not one of his best.
And I've been pretty impressed with his run so far since coming back. Obviously, with the addition of Paul Heyman, I think we did did we talk about this, or maybe I was talking with someone else about this, about even the scene where so Hell in a Cell, Roman has him say I quit, has Jay say I quit for the second time. You have his father and his uncle up there, and I thought it was a nice little touch. And even just having Paul Heyman there, but even removing himself from the situation, being behind completely out of the camera for that whole moment, I thought it was a good touch. I'm curious to see where they go with this. Obviously, now we have Jay siding, or not by choice or whatever, with Roman. What happens when the other Uso comes back, Jimmy, when he comes back, and what happens with Paul Heyman? Where does he fit in when you have the Usos and Roman kind of together?
So basically Roman's calling the shots now. Just to kind of recap over the last couple of months, he's calling the shots. We talked about the brief rivalry. It was a really good rivalry between him and Jay. They had a stellar match at, Hell in a Cell was Night of Champions or Clash of Champions, and then they had another Hell in a Cell match, I Quit match. Fantastic. Great acting from Roman Reigns, by the way. He got himself to cry in the middle of the ring. To kind of get some sympathy there and kind of trick.
Hey, you do a Fast and the Furious movie once or twice, and your acting skills are at another level.
There you go. Obviously, he's been carrying SmackDown for the last few months. He's been doing an excellent job. And so now he's kind of looking forward to Survivor Series, which by the time this airs will have already been done. But let's talk about the other side of things. We're talking about SmackDown. We talked about NXT. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw and Drew McIntyre. He won, obviously, the WWE Championship in April. Had a really good rivalry with Randy Orton. He ended up beating him at SummerSlam, excuse me. Then we got to see a rematch at Clash of Champions, and then Hell in a Cell. Randy Orton picked up that title for a 14th time. Stellar Hell in a Cell brutal match, and we got to see kind of Drew be vulnerable, kind of chase him over the last couple of weeks. He's kind of been chasing that title the last few weeks, building Drew back up as kind of the top babyface here. And this past last Monday now, he and Randy faced off in a no disqualification, no countout match. And boy, was it brutal. It was a really stellar match. They gave Drew a WrestleMania-like entrance. He kind of kilt of his that he used to have, I guess, when he started. He came out with a sword and stabbed the stage and flames everywhere. And so you kind of knew it was going to be Drew's night, but it was great. It was a great match. He regained the WWE Championship, now a 2-time WWE champion.
But was it necessary though? Because from what I picked up on it, obviously I'm thinking if Randy Orton wins the title, and then you look at the Survivor Series coming up, maybe so you want him to match up with Roman. You don't want to have Drew and Roman right now. You save it for WrestleMania or something. You can make something up with that in the future. But so I was kind of okay with the Roman Orton thing, because then you can have Roman go over Orton fairly clean, I guess you can say, whatever, no big deal. You're not going to take any shine off of a 14-time champion for losing to someone like Roman Reigns. But when you put Drew McIntyre in that mix. I guess so from their interaction last Friday, I think is what I've seen is supposed to have been enough to show some chemistry between the two. They put the title back on Drew and decide they're going to go Roman and Drew after all. I mean, it is a big 4 pay-per-view, so I think it works. But
So yeah, that interaction they had on SmackDown. First off, unexpected. Drew kind of showed up on SmackDown. Obviously, he's a Raw superstar. It drew a lot of buzz for sure. And I think more people wanted to see Drew versus Roman over Orton, just because Orton's a heel as well. Like you don't want to do the heel versus heel. I know they're doing it for a couple of those Survivor Series matches already, so kind of just have essentially the top babyface and the top heel. And so, of course, by the time this airs, we will have a winner. So we are recording this, of course, the Wednesday before, just a little earlier. So we won't know the results there. But
so who do we think will win, though? I know we might get into some predictions later, but since we're on the topic now, I need to know who you think's going to win.
So it's going to be Roman.
You think so?
They're not going to have him lose. I don't think they're going to have him lose right now. There's going to be shenanigans.
There has to be shenanigans.
There's going to be shenanigans.
I just don't see how it finishes clean. I mean, I don't see either one of them losing.
No, Drew could, as we saw with the Orton thing, he can take a loss after he's been beat up or something happened. We should note that The Miz is the new Mr. Money in the Bank, and he's been teasing a cash-in
on Drew
and Randy. So
I just don't see.
I don't know.
That's too wishy-washy though with the title. I mean, especially for a guy like Drew. So my whole situation is they've put Drew in a tough spot already. Obviously, yeah, you change your mind. You want to have the match with Roman and Drew. That's great. But at the same time, if you would have had that done earlier, you don't have him lose at Hell in a Cell. You have Drew coming in with a lot of momentum, getting ready to fight or wrestle with someone who he can, he needs another big win or another big match. I mean, Randy Orton's great. Outside of that, I'm trying to think who really has been a big win for Drew McIntyre during this first run. So having him beat Randy would have been great. Have him going against Roman, and if he does have a loss, have it be the first loss, with the title's not on the line. Have that loss happen to Roman. Roman is obviously hot right now. And I think everything would have been okay. And again, you still have your baby face, your heel thing, whatever. But you kind of muddy the water a little bit by having Drew now not because he's a 2-time champion, but because you had him lose already. So what is he going to do? Is he going to lose? He's going to lose Hell in a Cell, coming back and win it on a Raw, and then lose again on the next big pay-per-view? What are you doing with Drew McIntyre going forward, with a couple losses against some of the top guys he's gone up against?
Maybe we'll see a double disqualification or something, a no contest. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe.
Kind of a big deal, I know, but
we'll see.
I feel like Drew can take it a little more than Roman. A loss.
So.
Roman hasn't been pinned since.
I know, but
since who knows? I can't even remember the last time Roman took a loss. So
that's true.
So, anyways, and Drew's only taken like a handful of pins this year. So
yeah, I mean, but
he can take a couple,
but not like clean though. But I mean, but again, you're looking at Roman. Roman's built, established. Roman can lose 5 matches in a row and still be the number 1 contender. Drew,
he shouldn't.
I didn't think Drew, after Drew lost the title the first time, I didn't think Drew was going to get back in the picture right away. I thought they were moving on.
No, they're building him. He's set he's set on Roman level, Brock level. I think they're building him up for that. I think Roman's already Brock.
Right. I just don't see why you make him lose the title. I mean, it's great for him long term because then he's a 2-time champion.
They maybe switched plans.
They had to have, but still, I just.
Randy, I mean, they gave Randy his 14th title. I think they wanted to do that. Obviously, he's kind of been chasing the title, so it kind of him losing. I mean, there was rumors that I think plans for WrestleMania was Randy as champion and Edge comes back. so they could have their final blow off. So I think that was maybe the original plan. That's why they gave the title to Randy, and maybe they
Maybe.
decided, we don't need the title after all, or something. Could have been that as well. I mean, obviously, Survivor Series. We are running out of time, but when we return, and I have to end that conversation there. When we return, we're going to talk about perhaps the greatest wrestler on SmackDown. Of course, we're talking about the savior of SmackDown, Seth Rollins. We'll talk about a stable who's kind of been a little unstable over the last several months, but we'll talk about them. We'll talk about a interesting Funhouse edition, and so much more. So, all right. So we're going to hit a quick commercial break, and when we return, we're going to do all that. This is episode 117 of BTR Beyond the Ropes. We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM KKJZ HD3 Long Beach, Los Angeles. We're back. This is 117 of Beyond the Ropes, Pro Wrestling Talk. We are BTR. I said that so out of place, but that's all right. We're getting used to the comeback here.
Gotta get the reps in. It's been a while.
It's been 5 months. Of course, we've been out with injury here, but it's all right. Our hiatus, nice little refreshment. It's good to be back.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, I am Ethan Ortiz. I am your host, joined alongside the analyst, James Williams, and, of course, our producer, keeping us on track here, Rob Flores. All right, we got a few more things to wrap up here. Let's talk about 30 years of The Undertaker. He officially announced his retirement.
Did he?
He's done. He said he's done. He's done. I think he's done.
On the dock?
On the dock, and I think in an interview he said he's done. He said in an interview recently, it was People Magazine or something, one of those magazines, he said he was done. Yeah, Undertaker. I mean, we could say a few things about Undertaker. Any thoughts about 30 years of The Undertaker at Survivor Series?
I mean, I think it's just crazy to think that it has been 30 years. Started wrestling as The Undertaker a year before I was born, I guess. I think, 1990.
That's
so it's just crazy to see how far he's come with his career and everything. And obviously the way they're spotlighting him with different things every day on the network. I would encourage you guys to go check some of that stuff out. They had a nice little show, more or less, or I think they're calling it a documentary of how people first met The Undertaker and what their expectations were of him, and how he does come across as a godlike figure, but is also willing to help. And, they show him talking to Baron Corbin and others backstage after and before matches. There's also a nice little documentary of sorts on Paul Bear and how he got started and his involvement throughout with The Undertaker, and how one of Undertaker's first matches in whatever, I don't know if it was his first pro wrestling match in general or whatever organization he was with at the time, but Paul Bear was his manager before he was even The Undertaker. So these guys have been together for a while, and it was kind of fun to see them come together and to see The Undertaker talk about it. I haven't really heard Undertaker talk a whole lot about it. I know that would have been a question I would have had for him if I had a chance to interview him. But he's kind of talked about it in that doc and whatnot, so that's been good to see. And there's a lot of other great content on The Undertaker out right now, so go check that out.
Yeah, I think the Brothers of Destruction is either out or about to be coming out. So, definitely go check that out. All right, moving on, because we do have to catch up on a few other things. Of course, the WWE had its draft recently, and we saw a number of wrestlers and superstars switch brands. A group got split up. The New Day. Former, I guess, SmackDown Tag Team Champions at the time, Kofi and Xavier Woods, were sent over to Raw, splitting up the New Day. Of course, Big E's now in SmackDown. They ended up trading the tag titles with Street Profits, who were on Raw, and then went to SmackDown. So it's just a little interesting nugget there. hopefully, I know Big E was kind of in the midst of a bit of a push. He hasn't been doing much lately, but maybe we'll see something in the coming months. So, just a little update there. We should mention that that was kind of a big deal. I know for a lot of people.
Yeah.
They even got a send off on SmackDown and stuff. So,
And I think it's just notable real quick that, there's a lot of ways on how they were going to kind of break them up. If anything, usually a lot of teams break up with one turning on the other or whatever, but they kind of did it nicely considering everything they've done and the way they've kind of been presented and respected by the fans, to just kind of have them split off, but still kind of hold them together in a way. I think we'll see a big celebration for one of those guys holding a championship in the near future, and having those other guys reunite with them soon.
yep, there's still the New Day. Speaking of someone drafted, Seth Rollins, our Monday Night Messiah.
Your Monday Night Messiah.
Our Monday Night Messiah is no longer there. He's now just the Messiah or the Savior of SmackDown. Of course, the treacherous Mysterio family had to follow him over to SmackDown. They couldn't leave him alone. And we finally saw a conclusion to that rivalry. It ended with that traitor, that snake, Murphy, that's falling in love with Rey Mysterio's daughter, Aaliyah. And he cost Seth the final match against Rey Mysterio. I will say it was touching that on the 15th anniversary of Eddie's passing, I believe, Rey ended up winning with the Frog Splash.
Yeah.
So that was a nice touch, and so their rivalry is officially over. He welcomed, after several weeks of hesitation, he did welcome Murphy to the family, I guess. So so I know Murphy and Seth will have now faced off on SmackDown. We don't know the results yet because we're obviously filming beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to say that Seth is going to probably, more than likely, head off for a few weeks at least. Yeah. As most recently, Becky Lynch did post a few pregnancy photos, maternity photos with Seth. So congratulations to them. I know she's expected very soon. So I will say I am missing my Monday Night Messiah. But that's fine. He's still a savior of SmackDown.
The sacrifices you have to make, even.
It's a sacrifice. I don't get to see him live anymore. It's a shame. So, all right. Monday Night Raw has Monday Night Retribution. During this pandemic, probably, I think we've been off this entire time. I think you and I have talked about it, I think, on streams before.
I think so.
Basically, Retribution, a stable that's kind of been running roughshod over WWE, got its official leader, the SmackDown hacker, Mustafa Ali, as we're pronouncing it now.
Was that?
It was revealed that
Okay.
He was.
I know they were kind of held off on it a little bit, didn't they?
They took a few weeks, I think, before they finally officially revealed that he was indeed the SmackDown hacker, kind of playing with people and stuff. But we do know that Retribution is formerly known Mia Yim, which is funny because she has two Twitter accounts for.
Yeah, I did see that.
Former Dominic Dijakovic, which is T-Bar. We got Dio Madden, which is Mace. Got I'm forgetting Slapjack's name.
He's one of the English dudes.
Australian. Shane Thorne. There you go. Yeah. Shane Thorne, and of course Mustafa Ali, kind of running that. So it's been a rough go the last several months. They lost their feud against the Hurt Business, another up and coming stable, kind of been running Raw, but they finally picked up a victory last week. So hopefully they're picking up some steam there. But there is a reasoning as to why they're wearing masks. Apparently, Ali kind of gave them their unique names and masks because he wanted to have them know what it feels like to be judged by how they look like and their name, as he has been, judged. So that's a nice little thread there. And their Twitter game is amazing. So if anything,
they got that interesting font dragon, like the whatever it is. It's an interesting font. No, but they've been doing a pretty good job. Did you? I think you did see someone had posted the situation as to why Retribution kind of came about. They did, and it sounds like they just barely kind of got to that, putting this kind of building up to Survivor Series or whatever. But someone tweeted out a thread more or less with a little backstory on each one and why they should have been on, or what, why they came about being Retribution. And I think they kind of ran with that. I mean, it was kind of, the seeds were already kind of there for it. But I thought whoever it was, I'd love to give them credit. I don't have their name off the top of my head. It was a little while now. But they did a really good job breaking that down. And yeah, I thought it helped them out really well, tell the story. And a lot of those guys on Retribution, well, guys and girls on Retribution, were retweeting it and kind of pushing that thread, kind of tell their story. But I don't know what's going on with the Hurt Business. Where do they kind of fit in with all that? Are they still going at it? Are we going to see a classic traditional Survivor Series match here, or what's the deal?
So just quickly before we move on from Retribution, they did take over WWE's Twitter account last week.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Over the account, and they did explain kind of members kind of, I guess, demise. So it's basically, I think, the Twitter thread that kind of explained that. So they were I guess Fleet, right? That's what it's called.
That's what the cool kids are saying. No, yeah, that's a new feature on Twitter.
So yeah. They did actually use that and kind of explained it. Each cut like their little promo there. But yes, Hurt Business did kind of win their feud with Retribution. That's kind of why I was saying they kind of picked up on a rough start because Hurt Business did beat them a few times. They've moved on. I know they were chasing the Raw Tag Team titles. They were unsuccessful there. Bobby Lashley is currently the United States champion, but they've been kind of picking up Raw as of late. But as we're running out of time here, do you need to mention one major thing that's kind of been carrying Raw for a while? Talking about The Fiend and the Firefly Funhouse and the addition of one Alexa Bliss. So over the summer, Alexa Bliss was kind of stuck in the middle of the ring with The Fiend. And so basically since then, she's kind of been under a trance. And now we've kind of seen her join the Funhouse in some really entertaining stuff. She's now wearing kind of the creepy Chucky overalls. And she's got even braids, like the hair that Wyatt has. What is it called? Dreadlocks. Got some of those. She got new music. She's been very creepy, and it's been excellent. I don't know if you've seen any of that stuff, but it's been great.
I've caught some of it. It is a little weird though. Well, so she pulled out the laugh and stuff really well. I think if we remember correctly, I think there was always talk of having some sort of a Sister Abigail character kind of come aboard, and I think Liv Morgan was kind of thrown around. I think I guess we would never know, but I think having Alexa Bliss be that choice was the right choice. I think she's unlike Retribution though. She's, I think, not going through with a lot of the stuff on Twitter though, right? She's kind of still, I think she just got engaged, and I think that was just kind of put on social media the other day. But kind of interesting the way they're all kind of playing their characters right now. But she's doing a great job.
She kind of goes in and out of character a little bit.
Right, she does.
Nikki Cross, who obviously is her tag team partner for the last several weeks, has been trying to get her to kind of join the light side again, leave the dark side or whatever. And so we kind of see moments where we see kind of normal Alexa Bliss kind of try and talk with her.
Right.
Last week, we did see, however, it lead to kind of a brawl between the two. So that was interesting. Obviously, we're still carrying on with that story. So that should be fun. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to things to come. As we're picking up again, obviously it's the end of the year. So storylines are probably going to shift around. WrestleMania is once again around the corner, which is going to be insane in January. As we lead into like Rumble and everything.
Yeah, are we officially out of the WrestleMania sweepstakes for this year? I think that's what happened. I guess I kind of hope we are at this point.
Oh yeah, we're not going to WrestleMania this year.
I mean, us, yeah, I mean, for sure. But just in general, is it even going to be in LA? I think it's going to probably end up in Florida. I don't know if they've officially said that.
Me in Florida, but yeah. So I mean, we'll discuss it more as it
Tampa
gets
Bay or
closer.
whatever.
But
Yeah.
I think
Can I end with one other thing real quick?
we got to wrap it up, James. Come on, go. Yeah, go. Go ahead.
The Otis storyline fizzled out.
He's done. He is seemingly going to be a team potentially with Chad Gable, who got his name back.
Chad did get, I was kind of happy. I did see that segment. I was glad they finally did that. Chad and Otis, that'd be kind of interesting.
Otis lost his girlfriend, his Money in the Bank briefcase, and his best friend.
Did he officially lose the girlfriend, or did she just because she went over to a different brand?
They just went to different brands.
Yeah.
He essentially lost her.
Right. I mean, they didn't pick up with that, so.
Yeah. All right. So once again, you can follow us on social media. It's been a while at Real BTR Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Beyond the Ropes. You can follow me at EthanNV95 on Twitter. Follow James at
JHW Reporter on Twitter and on Instagram. Some things have not changed, Ethan, and apparently neither has your name on either social platform.
And you can follow Rob at
Rob Flores Media.
And of course, my Instagram is EthanNV or Ethan Everyday. All right, that's going to do it. Until next time, this episode of Beyond the Ropes, episode 117, has been too sweet.